The Secret Service was quite upset with what Major was doing and was quite upset that Jen Psaki was misleading about it. Next up is kind of an interesting story, and it's not just interesting because, oh, who doesn't like talking about dogs? It's interesting because it highlights some of the corruption in a key government agency that people rely on to protect lives, quite literally, the Secret Service. Now, if you followed Judicial Watch before, you know that Judicial Watch uncovered through FOIA lawsuits and investigations that the Biden White House had lied about the dog attacks by Biden's dog, Major. Now, it's his former dog. Evidently, Major has been given away. Now, what had happened was there were some reports about a dog bite or two, and Jen Psaki said, oh, well, yeah, there was one minor incident, and the dog was startled, and, someone got bitten, but it was minor. Well, that wasn't the case. Just before that statement, there had been eight bites in 8 days, or several attacks over the course of 8 days, and Judicial Watch uncovered that. I mean, they were lying about some simple issue like a dog bite. And the issue is also, why is it that the Biden administration didn't care much, or the Biden White House, that federal law enforcement personnel, the Secret Service, were being injured on the job by the president's dog? Now, look, we've all had dogs. It's the rare human being who hasn't had an interaction with a dog. And we've all had stories, or many of us have had stories or been aware of stories about dogs that are out of control and attack people. And Major was attacking people. And he should have been nowhere near the Secret Service or any strangers. And yet it happened for months before evidently he was finally given away. And so Judicial Watch uncovered more documents showing the scandal was even worse than we knew. That, the Secret Service was quite upset with what Major was doing and was quite upset that Jen Psaki was misleading about it. Now, I talked with you about what Psaki said. Well, it was just a minor incident. Well, it wasn't minor if you're attacked by the dangerous dog. In an email chain, and this is the documents that we uncovered, it was about 400 pages or so. In an email chain dated March 9th, 2021, a member of the Presidential Protective Division. So this is the elite of the Secret Service. I shouldn't say they're the elite, practically speaking, because who knows? Maybe there are some even more elite Secret Service details than I know about. But obviously, the Presidential Protective Detail is a pretty high-profile position to be in. And that person expresses their anger that the White House press secretary lacked candor about the dog bite incident during a press briefing. The chain begins when a fellow agent checks on the welfare of a colleague asking, "You okay? Someone told me you got bit." And the agent replies, "Yes, I got bit by Major on blank, and no, N-O capital, I didn't surprise the dog doing my job by being at a," redacted, I guess, a post, as the press secretary just said. "Now I'm pissed. Thanks for checking in." And then the agent replies, shaking my head, SMH, "Hope you didn't get hurt too bad. Take care." Well, can you blame the agent for being angry? He got bitten by the dog, and the press secretary goes out and suggests it was no big deal. And these are the nature of the incident reports because they're really quite dramatic, and I don't want to overstate them. But when you're a Secret Service agent who's charged with protecting the lives of the President of the United States, is, Dr. Biden, Jill Biden, his family, other White House personnel, and, visitors to the White House or to Biden's homes in Delaware and such. I mean, you want them to be focused on providing security. You don't want them to be worried about getting bitten and attacked by the president's dog. And it's dangerous for them, and it's dangerous for the president because you've got distracted protective detail. At approximately, this is on February, so this was before Psaki started misleading about this. At approximately 900 hours, while working at the AM shift for POTUS at the Wilmington, Delaware Lake House, Special Agent Blank was walking to relieve another special agent from a specific location. He stated that someone observed Major running at the special agent and heard him yelling at the dog. At this point, Special Agent Blank continued to walk towards Special Agent Blank's location, so he's going to relieve, and saw Major had turned and in someone else's direction, running at high speed. He's heard his colleague yell, "Major, stop," before so-and-so turned around to avoid a direct attack. Upon turning, so-and-so, it's redacted these names, so it's confusing as to who's doing what here, was struck on the right thigh by the dog's mouth. Major then ran across the yard towards the opposite end of the house. The special agent was shaken from this encounter, having almost been bitten. Therefore, special agent held that I guess they all stuck together until Major had been brought back into the residence, and he didn't seek medical attention about the incident. The report has a footnote regarding a photo taken a week under the attack showing a bruise, so he had been injured, where Major's mouth impacted the guy's leg. The oval shape of the injury demonstrates the outline of the dog's closed jaws. Now, what's interesting is the Secret Service has refused to turn over any photos of the actual injuries. I'm not sure why. I mean, we wouldn't know who the person is. We just see a close-up of the injury. But isn't that convenient that they don't want to turn that over? And again, it looks like this that was later that day. I didn't notice this in the initial release. So this happened at 9 o'clock, and then at 1900 hours, while working the PM shift, a special agent was at a specific location at the residence. The agent observed President Biden walk up to the front door with the elder family dog, Champ. The special agent stated that the POTUS did something, we don't know. After several minutes of waiting, Major failed to appear, and POTUS took Champ inside, closing the door behind him. Almost immediately after the door had shut, the special agent observed Major running at someone else, again, full stride from the main driveway. The special agent quickly made an effort to seek shelter inside. Despite the attempt, Major intercepted the special agent and bit down on his left forearm. Could be her, I guess. The special agent quickly shook Major off. I think it's a man because the coat was a men's coat. The special agent quickly shook Major off of his arm and once more attempted to avoid further attack. In doing so, he briefly turned his back on Major, and the dog bit a second time on his right buttock. Fortunately, despite the two injuries, the special agent was able to separate himself from the animal. Approximately 15 minutes after the attack, Biden opens the front door to let Major into the residence. At this point, the special agent stated the dog then went inside and POTUS, I guess, did something. The special agent, shaken by the ordeal, took a relief push to inspect the injury, and he then finished the remainder of the shift despite the discomfort. And again, photos of the injury and photos of the damaged rain jacket, and I think we have pictures of of at least one jacket or coat that was damaged by Major. And what's interesting is they needed to black out the size of the coat because they thought if we do the size of the coat, we could figure out who the Secret Service agent was. I don't know about you, but I mean, that's just silly. But it's just more gamesmanship to hide the information from us. Remember, all of this is not coming out because the Secret Service is deciding to tell the truth here. And actively or proactively disclosing information. It's coming out because Judicial Watch sued for it in court. They were withholding these documents contrary to law, and they only released them after Judicial Watch went to federal court to get this information. Again, there's another incident report where there's a special agent in the diplomatic room of the White House. And he says the dog came around the corner from the diplomatic room. He locked eyes with the special agent, having been essentially, I think the special agent has been around dogs reading through the redactions here, I'm guessing, his entire life. He knew from this moment of eye contact that Major that something serious was about to go down. Sure enough, Major advanced and quickened pace in the final 10 feet of distance. The dog then attempted to bite his left arm, but was only able to lock teeth on his overcoat as he stepped aside from the attack. Now, the First Lady was there and I guess did something to get the dog. However, the coat was torn during the altercation. And I think the president was there too, according to this report. So this is just craziness. I mean, this isn't a dog nipping someone. This is a dog that's out of control, zooming across the locations. Imagine being in a facility like the White House, and a dog attacks you after zooming at you from 10 feet away. I mean, this is a dangerous situation. Now, these individuals are armed. They'd be within their rights to shoot the dog. And they're lucky. We're all lucky that didn't come to that, because who knows? You know, you could have had a discharge of the weapon, and who knows what would have happened. It's crazy. And I could go on and on about other attacks involving Major here. And the other thing about this is that, the agent who I think was attacked twice by Major, he wanted to get his coat repaired or replaced. And I encourage you to look at the emails, because it shows you just how crazy the Secret Service leadership is, because their concern was, A, he was putting too much detail in the report, because the detail was embarrassing to the Bidens. They didn't like the idea that he was describing the dog report in detail or the dog attack in detail. And then he's filing the wrong forms, and there's this back and forth. They had the lawyers involved, the leadership of the Secret Service involved. There's other emails talking to the Secret Service agents, essentially warning them to keep their mouth closed about the dog attacks. So a dog is attacking Secret Service agents in significant ways, and severely attacking them, or severe injuries. And the Secret Service leadership is more concerned about covering it up rather than protecting the agents that are that they're obligated to try to protect. I mean, you never want agents to get hurt in the course of their duties and responsibilities. That sometimes that unfortunately happens. But when it needlessly happens, it's really outrageous. And in this case, there was a dog that was out of control, and the Secret Service seemed more interested in making sure no one talked about it as opposed to just dealing with it like adults. And you wonder why the Secret Service is so dysfunctional. This is one good reason, or this is a good example. I mean, you've seen stories. I hope you've been following the news. The information is still breaking about how these two individuals, shady characters by all accounts, were plying Secret Service agents and officials who were in important positions in the agency with regard to protecting the president and or First Lady with gifts, compromising them potentially and the agency and the security of the president of the United States. And the Secret Service didn't figure this out. I think it was a postal inspector who figured it out and said there's something going on here. You know, it was another law enforcement agency. I don't know if it was probably the Postal Inspection Service. I mean, they've been a little bit out of control recently too, but they're pretty diligent though. You don't want to be on the wrong end of the Postal Inspection Service, because they do what they need to do, figure things out. So the Secret Service is dysfunctional. And then you have the Biden White House lying about these dog attacks. Now, Major supposedly is with another family, and I hope the dog is doing well. I mean, and when we talk about this, it's like insanity. Now, I know people are crazy about dogs, but people are afraid to insult Major as if the dog cares. The dog is dangerous. He should have been anywhere near, after one bite, there should have been significant restrictions on the dog. After 2 bites, he should have been removed from the family. He really should have been removed. So this is really unacceptable. And it goes again to this issue about if you lie about the little stuff, and I don't think this is as little. Everyone likes to, the media, the left media, and Psaki, when she was called out on her misleading about the dog attacks, she was like, I'm glad you're asking about the dog. As if it wasn't important that Secret Service agents and federal personnel were being injured by the Biden's family pet. And the funny thing about the dog, I shouldn't say the funny thing about it. So the special agent is trying to get some compensation for the coat that was ruined. And he finally gives up after all this back and forth, this catch-22 type of back and forth that is documented. And he says, you know what, I give up. I'm going to read it. After some deep thought and reflection, I don't believe the U.S. should be responsible for the damage to my coat, as the cause was not under their control. To be compensated in this manner would essentially have the cost borne by the taxpayer, and this would be unjust. As I read the email chain below, the incident should be treated as a tort claim. I believe this is accurate, and as such, the responsibility should lie with the party responsible for the wrongdoing, i.e. tort, and that, of course, would be the dog owners. Therefore, I'd like to formally withdraw my reimbursement claim, so he suggested that the Bidens obviously are responsible for this. I don't think he's sued him. These documents, as I said, show that Major was a dangerous dog and the Biden White House lied about it, placing Secret Service and other White House personnel at needless risk. And it seems the Secret Service management seemed more concerned about managing press releases than taking care of its agents. In fact, the agency is still withholding information, as I highlighted to you, about this mess. So I don't know what else is going to come of this. Let's hope that Major doesn't bite anyone else in his new home. And let's hope that the Secret Service management is reformed or replaced in a way that protects the agents in place there. I think the agency's been dysfunctional. They're notorious for refusing to come clean on anything they think might be politically inconvenient for their protectees. And that's not the way our government's supposed to work. We run the government, not the other way around. It's our money. We have a right to figure out how it's being spent, and they can't be withholding it. And in the case of the Secret Service here, you had the Secret Service leadership hiding information about injuries to its members, to its agents, in a way that I can't imagine being a Secret Service agent in this situation in terms of the loss of confidence in the leadership there. So that's not pretty in terms of an agency that has a sensitive role of protecting the president and other high-profile individuals, protecting their lives from, in order to preserve our government. So this is an important issue, generally speaking.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.